Why is the relationship between orgs and rosters so fickle, so flighty, so easily disturbed? Every new roster starts the same. There's a tweet with a photo of the roster. It all looks fabulous and welcoming. And then a split later, a regional later, half a season later, or by the end of the season, it all seems to have come apart. And we're sort of starting from scratch. And either the org is no longer interested in having a roster, or they're looking for new people. And you're never sure why it all fell apart. And it's something I think we need to solve fairly urgently, because for the scene going forward, we need good, well-run, established orgs looking after rosters to grow and build those rosters in order to help the scene in general. So coming out of last season of RLCS for SSA, the 2021-22 season, there were 3 orgs that are no longer going to be going forward with next season with a roster: Nibble, DNMK, and ATK. And it's hard to know exactly what went down. And I've made an effort to speak to people within the orgs, and I've tried to speak to, I've had conversations with players. And it's pretty much like talking to 2 people who've broken up. Each believes the other to be at fault, which is kind of interesting. The players are a little frustrated with the orgs are frustrated with the players. But the end result is that we have no roster, and we have orgs that are not involved in the scene and are not going forward with Rocket League. So whatever the symptoms are in those individual cases is almost irrelevant, but it's just indicates a broader situation to resolve. Now, I don't have any background in esports, so I have no personal experience with running an org and trying to put together rosters and trying to make a living, trying to make money from an org. And all I ever keep hearing is that there is no money in esports. So based on what I've heard, it seems like these orgs just don't make money. They're doing it for the passion and the love, and they somehow eke out an existence. And obviously that is not a productive or a sustainable way to go about running a business. And then from the players' perspective, they want to be pros. Of course, they want to have, they want to make money. They want to make a living. They want their association with the org to further their careers. And there are a number of dynamics here. And well, let me say as well that given my lack of experience with esports and orgs in general, I don't know if this is a uniquely South African problem or if it's very similar to orgs around the world, North America and Europe. Looking at the roster mania in those areas, there certainly are issues, the space station gaming issue and others. But how much of this is a uniquely South African problem, I don't know. And what I'd like to do with this little commentary on the topic is to try and start a conversation about how we resolve it, because we do have to fix it. And my general view is that mostly rosters, Rocket League rosters, and probably any esport, these are young people in their teens who have no experience in the world. And, when you're playing a game for passion and for love, and an org comes and offers you just about anything, you're going to jump at that opportunity. And I think that's an important factor, is how are we ensuring that young, impressionable players who will jump at the first opportunity of any kind of compensation, how are they being protected? How are they being advised? How are they being led through what can very quickly become a problem if they enter into long agreements that turn out to be bad for them in the long run? Then there's the org itself. How do they make money out of it? And there's the question of, do we pay you a small salary and take a cut of your winnings, or pay you a big salary, or pay you a small salary and take no cut of your winnings, or a salary and a portion? And I'm not sure, given how much money is in esport, and Rocket League is the highest paid esport in South Africa, but I don't think it's sustainable for an org to run purely on taking a cut of the winnings. Surely the answer lies somewhere in utilizing the roster and creating the hype and content that will appeal to marketers. I mean, esports is a youth market. It is the wet dream of any brand to access that market. And surely through superb content produced by an org around their roster is what can be sold to brands. And and I realize I might be coming off pretty ignorant right now or pretty naive, but it seems to me the answer lies there. And utilizing the asset of the rosters, the marketing asset of rosters, orgs running this in a functional way or a smart way can make all the money they'll ever need. And then the rosters can go on and keep all their winnings and get parts of sponsorship deals. Surely the answer lies there, and I'm not 100% sure, and I would love to hear from people on how we make this work, because it has to be made to work. I just don't want to see this carousel of, hey, here's our new team, aren't we excited to be in Rocket League, and then half a season later it's, well, we're no longer involved. And I accept that the youngness of the players also means that there are egos involved, and the lack of experience and maturity in relationships can break down a roster, which then negatively impacts the org. I understand it as dynamic. I understand it as multifaceted. But what are the facets? How do we address it? How do we build good, strong, stable orgs that have rosters that they are there for the long haul, looking to build them up? And we have a roster with like 1, 2, or 3, more than one season, more than half a season, certainly longer than we've been seeing up until this point. Any way you slice it, it's an important issue to address. I'd love to see orgs like DNMK, Nibble, ATK back in the foray with Rocket League. I also understand the competitive Rocket League scene is fairly young, and there's maybe, there's 2 top teams, and maybe the concern from orgs is not wanting to have a team that's sort of bottom 4 or bottom 8, or, they want to have the best of the best. And I think that's a fairly short-term way to look at it. There's got to be better ways. How do we take this conversation further and build a scene that is good for our players and excellent for the orgs? I'm not entirely sure what the answers are, but I think it is worth starting the discussion around it now. Do let me know.